Sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, November the 15th, 2023. Jersey Johnny coming at you with me, as always. It's none other than Mr. RadioPete and Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. Say hello, gents.
Hello. Howdy.
How is you today?
Just spectacular.
Fantastic.
We are a week and a day away from Thanksgiving. Can you believe it already?
Sure.
Year flew by.
Meh.
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 Meh. Meh. Yeah. So how are you guys on this fine night in the smack dab middle of the month, middle of November?
Ready to answer, obscure questions about.
Obscure questions about people from the 40s and sports.
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
well,
I'm done with my Christmas shopping.
Are you?
You are.
Yeah.
So am I, because I'm not buying anybody anything.
Yeah, I did none.
I did not.
Getting anything for anything.
So you're done. There you go.
Yeah, I'm done.
There you go. Cool. Yeah, I still have a couple other things to get, and I'm only getting a couple of things. So there you go.
Get out and get it done. Then you can just sit back and
not have to worry about
laugh at everyone else who's hustling
yeah.
and bustling between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Exactly. Oh, that Thanksgiving is by far my favorite holiday of the holidays.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I like Thanksgiving better than don't get me wrong. I love Christmas. I love New Year's. I love blah, blah, blah. But Thanksgiving is Christmas without all the gifts and running around and get this and who that, blah, 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 blah. It's football. It's cooking all day. It's eating all day. It's drinking beer all day. It's, watching football. 3 games you got, Pete, you look better or different or something.
Heck, I'm still here.
No, you're incognito at the moment. You're on your darkness retreat or what?
Basically, for you, the most gluttonous of holidays is your favorite.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I do enjoy.
That's fair.
I do enjoy Thanksgiving.
All holidays are fairly gluttonous. It's just a different, type of preferred gluttony.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but Thanksgiving is sort of the it's fairly like everything kind of evens out, right? Because we all get to eat the same food,
right?
And usually people bring stuff if you have family coming over. You don't have to cook every single thing, so there's some of that shared responsibility. Whereas like Christmas, you sort of go through the same food process, but you might give good presents, or you might give crappy presents, and you get good stuff. So that's where it's disproportionate, right?
It's disproportionate, exactly.
You can spend time finding just the perfect gift for people, and then they give you like, a gas card or whatever,
right?
Which is a useful thing, but like I had to go to like 6 different bookshops to find this rare edition of whatever for you, and
right.
But Thanksgiving, it's all just about we all get to eat the same food and
watch the same football, drink the same beer, blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Nobody gets screwed over by the old grab bag Christmas or whatever.
And the what do you call it? Seasonal depression. Not that I ever get that, but some people like it's the letdown, right? Christmas is over. You got a week till New Year's, and then it's January, and it's the holidays are done, right? At least with Thanksgiving, with all of that, you got 6 weeks, or 4 to 5 weeks of the holiday season, right? You got the merriment, and pretty much wherever you go, maybe there's parties throughout that. Somebody's having an early Christmas party or a gathering, a get together, whatever. So you got all of that. You got that to look forward to, that period in there to look forward to.
Right.
So there's a lot of reasons that I like it, but that's me. That's just call me silly. So
you're silly.
I am. All right. All right. We get some memes.
Meme it up.
Meme it up. Well, they're not really memes. I mean, these are we call memes. They're not really memes. They're just oddly written things, bad signs. Didn't proofread things. So we'll kick it off with this one. So we'll start with this one right here. Meat juice, one of our favorite beverages.
It's the official beverage of Wisconsin, isn't it?
I think so. There you go.
Now, is that made from all of the animals?
I think it's a blend. Yeah, I do. I think it's
nice.
A cow, pig, what is that? A cow, pig, turkey, chicken,
turkey,
fish.
a chicken, and a fish.
Yeah.
The fish is the wild card in this.
Right, exactly. Like, what is it? Like, do you blend it up separately and then sprinkle it, like just pour it over the top, like float it on top of the rest of the juice?
You just you dribble some scales on top for
right. There you go, for effect, like like you're dusting it like with nutmeg or something. It's actually the scales of this. So I thought that was interesting. All right, then we have this one here. This was handwritten, but it was actually for specials one day. Here you go. Today's special: grilled salmon, mashed potatoes, and Asperger's, $8.99.
That's a good price for Asperger's.
Asperger's disease.
Right.
Yeah.
And you get salmon and potatoes with it for only $8.99. That's not bad at all. It's a good price. It's a good price these days. Yeah.
Well, and of course, it's very special.
It's very special.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
maybe they were learning a new language when they wrote that.
They may very well have been. Then there's this one along the same lines, food-wise, if you will, but it's for after you eat, like when you're packing stuff away, leftovers, if you will. There you go. Everyday value at AC Moore. Insulted lunch bags. $3.
You open it up and you get a fresh insult.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, what does that do to a lunch bag?
Insulted. Now, they're not insulting lunch bags, right? It's not opening it up and you're getting insulted.
They've been
insulted. Right, exactly.
So do they
that seems a lot for lunch.
They don't hold your sandwich, or they just
right.
The bottom falls out. They're like, what's the point?
Right. Depressed lunch bag.
They just refuse to work. They're like, fuck it, I'm not carrying it.
I'm done. Screw this.
Why bother?
Exactly.
Did you hear what that guy said to me?
I've never
called me Ziploc.
I've never been so
holding a grudge.
Called me Ziploc.
He called me. I'm a Ziploc. Damn it! He called me a paper bag.
That's right.
Anyway, all right. Next one. This was interesting. I don't know if I want to shop here. It depends on who else is in the store. All right.
Of course it does.
Absolutely no clothing or footwear is allowed in garden center.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any place where it should be allowed.
Honestly, if I'm gonna try out a gazebo, I'm not gonna do it. If I'm gonna buy a gazebo and put it in my yard, I'm not gonna sit in it with clothes on.
Right.
So I would like to simulate that experience.
I would like to know what it's like in this particular gazebo.
That's right.
Exactly.
You just got to kind of see where it all airs out.
Exactly. Well, quite literally.
Also, I'd like to know what exactly are you supposed to push to open in the event of an emergency?
An emergency push to open. Push.
Like, is there like a little glass?
Push whoever's in front of the door.
Like a poncho comes out and you put it on the naked person. Oh my God! Here,
you just push the last person. There.
Or now, is there a locker room outside the garden center, or do you have to go back to your car and take your clothes off? Like, I
don't know.
It's these questions are they should have a little footnotes.
Yeah, it's all about context.
Exactly. Quite literally. All right, this one is good. Here we go. Do you get this? For sale, 5 large acres.
Well, that's good. As opposed to a small acre.
I hate it when an acre is small.
They're just being honest.
So annoying.
I hate when an acre is not an acre.
They're just being honest.
Yeah. Those medium-sized acres, they're not bad, but the large ones are much better.
Well, look, they put up a sign. It said 5 acres.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody called, whatever the number that's scratched out there, and they answered the phone, and the person said, "What kind of acres are they?" And they went, "I don't know. They're just regular acres." And they said, "I'm not interested." And they hung up.
Mm-hmm.
So they went out and got a new sign.
5 large acres.
We'll advertise them as large.
Mm-hmm. You gotta love it. All right, moving on to the next one. This was in a parking deck, real sign in a parking deck. Please pay your parking fee before existing.
Well, it's the only way you're guaranteed. You don't have an outstanding invoice.
Exactly. But how do you pay it before you exist?
No, there's ways.
No, with money, John.
Oh.
Or credit card, Apple Pay,
credit card,
Apple Pay.
Yeah.
Or I guess before you exist, you'd have to pay with a promise.
It would be a promissory note, right? Exactly.
No, I mean, somebody's got to, you just have to defer some of your future savings to your pre-existing account, and then you're fine.
And then you can pay it. Like it's almost like a pre-existing.
Yeah, that's the key.
Pre-existing Venmo.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Gives new meaning to pre-existing condition.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, if you are pre-existing, then any account you have would therefore be a pre-existing account.
Well, if you ask certain people in Congress, like the Speaker of the House, he does believe we exist before we exist. So.
Well, there you go.
That's true.
How about it? All right. Moving on to the next one. Staying with the sign theme here. I'm interested how many people actually visit this street. Go away.
I mean, you can't go away unless you're there. So quite a few.
Yeah.
Look at the janky sign bracket on the top there. It's like, what the fuck is that?
Right.
Yeah.
It looks like the sign is also off center.
I mean, that's something we do all the time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's
no
true.
matter where you live, you
no matter where
go away.
Exactly. But like, what block do you live on? Go away. Fine. Don't tell me.
Yeah. Fine. Let me walk to the other side of the room and I'll ask again.
Right, exactly.
1, 2, 3, go away. Well, you don't have to count it down.
1, 2, 3, go away.
1342B, go away. that sounds like a quarterback call.
Yeah. Omaha.
Side right, go away.
Go away is if you listen to an Irish person, it's a town. Where do you live in Galway?
Go away. I'll go Galway. All right. Next one we got here. This is an interesting recreation area. I've never been there, so if either of you two have been there, let me know. Here we go. Glory Hole Recreation Area, 1/4 mile.
Come on, you live in Jersey. You've been there, John.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, it's true. There's several of them up and down the turnpike.
That's right. That's what that anchor.
Nice
that's what the anchor with the hole in it means, is that there's sailors in a glory hole.
I was going to say they give you 4 possibilities there.
That's right.
Right. One is, I assume, a boat or in a boat.
A trailer. Yeah.
Another is
one is you could do it on a seesaw. The second is you
can do it by a fire.
Spread your legs.
I know that's a camp. That's a tent. That's a tent.
The third one is bring a friend.
Right.
Bring a friend. Supply your own glory
or meet
hole.
a friend.
Or yeah.
And then stick your dick in this anchor.
There you go. Glory Hole Recreation Area, 1/4 mile. All right, and
it's nice to have choices. Is all.
It's a bit, by the way, that's a long glory hole. If it's a 1/4 mile,
it's a 1/4 mile glory hole. I'm out.
Yeah, I think it's just a 1/4 mile of holes. I don't think it's a 1/4 mile deep.
Oh, right, I got you.
Line them up. Gets busy in the summer.
This is true. All right.
3/16 capacity right now.
Now let me ask you a question. At a glory hole rest area, is there a 2 doors, but instead of male and female, it's positive and negative?
Sure. Right. Oh, there you go. And
what I want to know is, I mean, this looks like it's some sort of governmental, right? It's a state
camping ground, yeah,
something like that. So, who applies for that job? Glory Hole Recreation Area attendant.
Yeah, that's well, it depends.
I mean, it's probably good pay, benefits.
Spit and Swallow and Associates.
I'm sorry, I have to do what? Oh, you have to empty the trash, mop out the bathrooms, service other human beings sexually.
Exactly. But you won't know who they are. We keep your anonymity.
So there's a
differential. There's a differential for second shift. All right, I'll take it.
Let me tell you something. All right, Glory Hole Recreation Area is not Photoshop. It's a recreation.
These
area
are all real.
Located in New Melones Lake on the Stanislaus River, which I think is in California.
There you go.
Well, that figures.
That makes sense. Yeah, none of these are all real. None of these are photoshopped.
Of course. Well, I know that, but something in the past, there's been some things where you're like, yeah, somebody's
well, like a letter's cut off and it's funny or something like that, but they're still in it. But this one is the funniest right here. Right. Next one here, the pièce de résistance. Save the best for last. Maybe that was the best one. And it's anticlimactic.
Hard to top
a glory hole. Yeah, exactly. Hard to top a glory hole. It's this one right here. Invincible Moose. Next 5 kilometers.
This is for you. Yeah, you're the one with the moose.
Yeah, that's. I'm a little concerned about what is driving that car.
No, it used to be a person. Now it's just a star.
It looks like a. Is that a punk rocker with a really?
No, it's somebody whose head's been. It's somebody whose head is now a sharded shrapnel of a, remnant of what they were because of the moose.
The driver turned into a star.
I mean, we're not talking about any moose. We're talking about
an invincible moose.
Yeah, the moose doesn't even look mad.
Right.
The only thing worse than an invincible moose is an invincible moose.
Oh, you don't want that. You want to see where you're going. Yeah, he doesn't look mad. He looks like he was just standing in the road and the car ran into him.
Yeah,
he's like, "What the hell was that? Come on,
like
man."
Somebody was driving and they saw the sign and they went, "Yeah, right." And the moose stepped out and went, "Oh, you don't believe?
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you."
Right. Or the car was in an accident and the moose is just coming over and seeing what's for dinner.
Or responding to see if the guy's okay. Maybe
right.
He's
gonna rescue him out of the car and take him, put him on his back and take him to the Glory Hole recreation
area. Right, exactly.
Could have been something that smells good on the hood, and the moose came over to give it a sniff.
There you go. Well, then, depending on what it is, he could be in the Glory Hole recreation area. But there you go. All right. So those are the funny pictures for the day. So anyway,
pretty good.
Not bad. Not a bad.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week, folks.
All right, well, next week.
Thanks for tuning in, folks.
All right. Let's get the fun and hilarity started, shall we? Right. or the questioning. Anyway, let's do this week's NFL just a quickie. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Worse.
All right. Who wants to go first? Pete, you want to go first with this one?
I'll go first.
I mean, it's the same question, right? But whatever.
Yeah. Well, somebody has to get it wrong first, and that should be me.
Exactly. So we got to pick one in their prime, right? We got to change this to pick one in their prime because that's what it's turning out to be. We changed the other quiz to 4 gotta stay. So maybe we make this one pick one in their prime, right?
Pick a prime.
Pick one in their prime. Here we go. Ready? Pat Leahy or Raul Allegre? We went kickers from the 80s.
Jesus Christ.
Well, there's a reason. You'll find out why later.
Where's Raphael Septian?
Right, where's Raphael Septian?
I'm gonna go Invincible Moose on this one.
Invincible Moose.
Yeah. Isn't Pat Leahy the guy who has his show now on ESPN?
That's right. No, that's yeah.
Mr. Leahy from the Trailer Park Boys?
From Trailer Park Boys, right? Yeah.
Have you ever watched any of the McAfee broadcast during the games and stuff? It's terrible.
He's horrible. And by the way, I fall asleep on the couch a lot, so I wake up pretty early on Saturday mornings. And I swear to God, I'm in a fog waking up, and I feel like on college football day now, it's Pat McAfee for 7 hours.
All day.
Yeah.
All day.
Just all day.
All day.
It's good to have a friend like Aaron Rodgers.
That's right.
Especially all right, I'm gonna pick the Pat in this question. I'll go with Pat Leahy.
Pat Leahy. So
in his prime, we're talking, right?
Pete is going.
We're not talking about the senator for Pat Leahy.
We're talking about the Jets place kicker Pat Leahy or the Giants place kicker Raul Allegre.
I'll take any Pat Leahy in his prime over any Raul Allegre in his prime.
All right.
Well, I don't know about that.
Senator, kicker, horrible sports talk show host.
Yes.
A glory hole recreational attendant.
Yeah, who rocked the glory hole more, Pat Leahy
or Raul Allegre?
Who's the second guy? Raul Allegre?
Raul Allegre, yeah.
I don't know.
He was Giants place kicker for
Raul Allegre
for most of late 80s and into the 90s.
You guys remember the show called Ville Allegre?
Ville Allegre, yeah.
Ville Allegre. Raul Allegre.
There you go.
La 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 la.
I don't really. I mean, I remember Leahy being all right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Harry, what I love about this is the fact that you take this seriously.
I'm going to go Raul Allegre. Didn't he win?
You're like,
two Super
let me
Bowls?
just look up the stats, cross-reference, and then check the glory hole results, and then I'll make my pick.
Exactly.
Raul Allegre. I don't know.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Let's go with the guy named Pat.
Raul Allegre won 2 Super Bowls, although he didn't kick for one of them. Matt Barr was
that's right.
was there. But Raul Allegre was the place kicker for the Super Bowl they beat.
86.
86, yeah. And there you go. All right.
The correct answer is Raul Allegre.
No, the correct answer is whatever your opinion is. It doesn't really matter. I lean towards Raul Allegre too. He did win 2 Super Bowls. So there you go. All right. More, but you're not wrong with Pat Leahy. Pat Leahy kicked for, I don't know, 17 years for the Jets.
Okay.
So.
I got the answer wrong. It's fine.
You didn't get it wrong.
Par for the course.
There you go. All
How
right.
many Super Bowls did Pat Leahy kick for?
That would be none.
0. So 1.5 or 2 or 1 is more than 0. Mm-hmm. So congratulations, Harry. Your extensive research has paid off.
I was just trying to remember it too. I didn't realize Leahy played that long. How many years did you say?
16, 17 years he played for the Jets, and he was drafted by somebody else before the Jets.
Well, I'll be damned.
There you go. All right. That was just a quickie. Not too quick, but just a quickie. All right. That brings us to this week's Four Gotta Stay. Four Gotta Stay, we're doing top tight ends of all time.
Oh boy!
Top.
Did we do this already?
We had a top 10 list a few years ago, but we didn't do tight ends. Yeah, top tight ends of all time, and this is going to be hard. This one's going to be hard. There's no.
Not for me.
That's what you hear whenever you walk into the glory hole.
This one's gonna be hard, right?
It's gonna be hard. Give me a minute. I just had a fucking invincible moose.
Invincible moose crashed my car.
What was it called? Not invincible. Was it invincible? Impossible?
Invincible. Yeah.
Invincible moose.
Invincible moose. Right. The invincible moose.
Sounds like an alternative vegan burger.
It's actually the name of the.
I'll have the invincible moose burger, please.
I'll have the invincible moose with some fries.
It's the name of the Moosey Dryer biopic.
That's right.
There you go.
Right. Invincible Moose.
Invincible Moose, the real story of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yeah, right. Yep. All right. So here we go. You ready?
Okay,
we're going to say top tight ends all time. Write these down. You know the drill. 4 got to stay. I give you 6. 4 got to stay. 2 got to go. Write these down. Here we go. Tony Gonzalez.
He was horrible.
Telling you, this isn't going to be easy.
No.
Tony Gonzalez. Antonio Gates.
Oh, yeah. Another guy, just overrated.
System tight end.
Yeah. Mark Bavaro.
Fail.
Well, gee, I was
told
shocked.
You this would be hard
I'm
for me.
shocked at that one.
If you don't apply logic and reason,
I know.
Not difficult at all.
Pete, I know who you're for already before you even have to tell me. I already know.
I'm more interested to know why he doesn't like Mark Bavaro, other than that he played for the Giants.
He played for the Giants.
Oh, okay, so I mean, but, yeah.
Right. Well, and here we go. Here's the next one. I'm going to get an from Pete. Ready? Another systems tight end, Rob Gronkowski.
I love the Gronkster. He was great.
Yeah. Next one, Jason Witten. And we'll wrap it up with Ozzie Newsome. So once again, Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, Mark Bavaro, Rob Gronkowski, Jason Witten, and Ozzie Newsome. 4 got to stay, 2 got to go. We're going to start with Harry this time.
Well, you know, I love Bavaro, but he just doesn't have the resume that these other guys have. And I do believe I believe the only one on this list who's not, I could be wrong on that because Gronk might be too early. The only one who's not or won't be in the Hall of Fame is probably Bavaro and Witten. I think. So I got to go with the Hall of Famers here. I'm going to go with Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, Rob Gronkowski, and Ozzie Newsome. I think Newsome's in the Hall of Fame, isn't he?
Newsome's in the Hall of Fame, yeah. So, all right. So you're going with Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, Rob Gronkowski, and Ozzie Newsome. Peter.
Yeah, I think you're right. Bavaro, he really didn't do much. He had one big catch where he carried a couple of 110 pounds.
That was it.
Safeties on his back.
Flash in the pan. That's it.
That's all he did. And I love Jason Witten, but look, Gronk is one of the best ever. It's not like the Patriots weren't beating up on the Jets all those years only because they had Gronk. They were just a better team. He was one of the reasons, but not the reason. He's one of the best ever. And Newsome was awesome. Jason Witten was great, but he's got to go. I agree.
There you go. All right.
We are in agreement.
Once in a blue moon, the two of you agree. Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, Rob Gronkowski, and Ozzie Newsome. Those are your 4 top tight ends of all time. From this list, anyway. There you go. All right. Very good. Moving on. We're going to jump into NFL question of the week. NFL question of the week. All right.
The NFL question of the week. Why?
Just why? The NFL question of the week is brought to you by the Giants and Jets offensive lines collectively. Anyway, all right.
Is why?
The question is, with all the games lately and all the records lately and everything coming up, who will have the worst record at the end of the season? Not tomorrow or whatever.
We're talking football?
Football. Who will have the number 1 pick in the draft? Who will have the worst record?
Well, I'm hoping it's the Giants, but it probably won't be.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the NFL teams?
Of all the NFL teams, who will have the worst? Right now, the Arizona Cardinals have the number. Right now, they're the worst team, the Cardinals. The Panthers are the second worst team. The Bears are the third worst team. The Giants are the fourth worst team.
The Cardinals don't even have Josh Dobbs anymore.
Right, but Kyler Murray's coming back this week.
Why are the Cardinals? Oh, because the Cardinals played one more game than the Panthers, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the Panthers.
Play Murray. They're going to play Kyler Murray.
They're going to play Kyler Murray this week, and he'll be back for the rest of the season, assumingly.
Did the Panthers play the Giants?
No. The Giants do not play.
The Panthers do play Don Bosco.
They are playing Don Bosco, and
they do play the Bucks twice and the Falcons.
I think the Panthers are the worst.
Well, what if Bryce Young comes around and starts like, look, Frank Reich, I don't think is interested in tanking. He's got his, for all intents and purposes, his quarterback, right, in Bryce Young. And if Bryce Young starts to play well, obviously they're going to let him play, and they're going to want to win games, right? Kyler Murray's back, so assuming that if the Cardinals actually do have some makings of some form of a team that can play some games, they may win another game or two. All right.
I think it's going to come down to the Giants and the Panthers
and the Bears. The Bears and the Giants are basically tied right now, anyway. But the Giants hold the tiebreaker.
But if Tyrod Taylor, or is it Tyrod? I think I heard someone call him Tyrod.
I heard somebody call him Tyrod. It's not. It's Tyrod.
If he comes back, they could win a couple of games.
Yeah, but
and then they'd be better than Carolina.
No, you're absolutely right. Every team
be better than the Bears.
Every team could lose out. Every team could win a bunch of games.
Carolina's the worst, but I'm going to say the Giants just because I don't know.
My point
my
is,
version of Mark Bavaro.
The here's my thing. The Panthers don't have a reason to tank. All right. They're going to have a top draft pick anyway, and it's going to be in the top 10, and they're not drafting a quarterback. And that's what the top 4 or 5 spots are drafting quarterbacks anyway. So they have no reason to need a top 4 pick. If they can win a couple games with their young quarterback and Frank Reich wanting to win, obviously, they're gonna. There's no reason for them to tank. The Cardinals, Kyler Murray clearly is going to do what he can to save his job. So he's going to, and they don't really have a reason to tank unless they want to replace Kyler Murray. And they really can't replace Kyler Murray because they have that contract is so screwed that they will have, if they just, nobody's going to trade for him for that contract. And there's so much dead cap money if they let him go that they won't be able to sign anyone else. So they don't have a choice but to keep Kyler Murray. So they're not top 5 pick isn't something that they need either. So if they can win, they'd rather do that. Plus they have a newer coach and he's going to want to obviously, prove that he should be there. The Bears are the only ones that I see, I mean, with that whole organization, what they've been doing all season, who knows if they still have faith in Justin Fields or what the other kid is going to do. So Basin or whatever. I think
Carolina's got the Bears, the Cowboys, Tennessee, Tampa, New Orleans, the Falcons, Green Bay, Jacksonville, and they finish up with Tampa Bay. So how many of those games can they realistically?
I can see them winning. I could see them beating Tampa Bay.
They could beat the Bears, right?
They could beat the Bears.
They're not going to beat the Cowboys. I don't think they're going to beat the Titans.
They could. Depends on what the Titans are doing.
Depends
on what the Titans want to do.
They have one. They have one win, and that was against the Texans.
Right, which is shocking, really. But I think they can win.
Probably
the Broncos. The Buccaneers are a divisional game. They could win that one at home.
Bucks.
Right.
I probably won't win both. The Saints. They should lose to the Saints. Falcons are better than I think we think they are. They might beat Green Bay. Yeah, they could probably get 3 or 4 wins.
I think that it's going to come down to the Bears, really, because if the Bears win a game, pick up a game here and there, and the Giants are serious about tanking, especially with what they got playing. If Tyrod Taylor doesn't come back, and it's Tommy DeVito or Matt Barkley the rest of the way out with that offensive line, forget about it. And Waller's out for at least 6 weeks now. He's on the IR.
So the Giants have the Cowboys. They've got the Commanders who are shedding. They're obviously not interested in winning. You got the Patriots that are bad. The Packers that are bad. The Saints, then the Eagles, the Rams, the Eagles again. I mean, these are bad teams that they're going to really have to make an effort to lose against all of them. Yeah, the Giants might end up the worst, but I think Carolina is the worst team.
Fair enough.
And I mean, what week are we in now? We're in week 9, 10?
We're in week 10. This coming up is week 10.
So, I mean,
No. We just had week 10. I'm sorry. Coming up is week 11. So.
No, we just had week 9.
No, we just had week 10.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right.
So,
yeah, I mean, I just don't see. I don't know. Bryce Young's going to have to get significantly better. You know what I mean?
I got you. So, okay. So you're saying Carolina is probably the worst team. And I would tend to agree with you, but who's going to have the worst record?
Carolina. I think it's Carolina.
You both say Carolina.
Yeah, I don't think they get good enough.
All right.
To take the Giants is something stupid like win the last game against
the Giants and Jets will definitely follow that stupidity mode and win games that they have no business winning.
Right, exactly.
And I'm not so sure I agree with you on Kyler Murray with the Cardinals. I think he's going to go play baseball, and I think they're going to get out of that contract. I think they are in the hunt for a quarterback.
Right.
Yeah, he was.
They wouldn't have
his problems.
Especially since they just were so quick to get rid of Dobbs, too.
Right.
Yep.
Hobbs or whatever the fuck his name
Dobbs. There we go. So, by the way, I agree with you. Carolina's going to have the worst record. But that also means, well, first of all, Carolina doesn't hold their pick. All right.
Who has it?
The Bears. So the Bears right now.
Bears are in the winning in this.
Bears have 2 picks, and then it's the Cardinals. The Cardinals, the Bears pick twice, then the Giants.
Well, if there's anybody who has a track record of picking fantastic quarterbacks with top picks, it's the Bears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which is why they're going to try it again.
Well, but they got 2 picks. Maybe they'll pick both of them and see which is better and then trade the other one.
Yeah, I think that's what they might do.
You know what? Hold on a second. You can afford both of them on a rookie contract.
Right.
That's not a bad idea.
No, it's not.
Like, draft both of them, trade Justin Fields.
Yeah, you can probably
keep the kid Mason in there to coach
Justin Fields.
Yeah,
and the potential, right?
Yeah, have him play. See who's the best. Re-sign the one after his rookie contract's up, and get rid of the other one.
Fields could go to the Jets.
There you go.
That would actually sounds about right.
If Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, Justin Fields goes to the Jets. The Bears draft two of the top 4 quarterbacks.
Justin Fields, I thought he was actually going to have a decent year this year, but that's not going to happen.
No.
Yeah, the Bears are bad. Yeah. They're under the radar bad.
Yeah. They're not good.
No, they're not. Not good at all.
All right, what's next?
All right. That brings us to the rapid fire quiz. And this week we switch it back. We're done with baseball. We switch it back to NFL rapid fire quiz. NFL.
Great. My longest.
Switch it back in week 8 or whatever the fuck week it is.
Well, the World Series ended a couple weeks ago, so we're switching it back now. So we got NFL till mid-February, and then we'll do NBA. Anyway, so NFL history rapid fire quiz. Here we go.
I say January 1st we go NHL and nothing but for the entire rest.
Yeah, I'll see you guys with hockey.
There you go. All right, so 2 weeks ago, Harry won 3-2 though. Pete ran on his heels in that game. So, so we got some
dogs snapping his ankles.
Good NFL questions today. Now this is NFL history. These all have to do with the Thanksgiving games. All of these questions have to do with the Thanksgiving games, which is obviously historically, which is next week, obviously, not obviously next week's game. Historic.
I hope it's the early games because I'm usually asleep by the later ones.
Well, it's okay. Pete, your first question: who ran for 302 yards in one game back in 1924? Again, no, kidding.
Red Grange.
Red Grange, you got it right.
Walter Payton.
Hey. All right, here we go.
Yeah, the answers are 9 out of every 10 answers are a bear or a lion.
There you go. All right, you ready for your first question, Pete?
All right, let's go.
Here we go. All right, question number 1. Here we go. What team has the most wins on Thanksgiving?
Is the music going?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very faint. I don't know. Is it the Cowboys?
It is not the Cowboys.
Not the Cowboys.
It's not the Cowboys. So, Harry, for the steal.
And I'm just going to play the numbers. Is it the Lions?
It's the Lions. It's the Lions. It was 6-1. So,
yeah.
You know.
So I'm guessing the Bears are second.
The Lions have 37 wins on Thanksgiving. Wow. They have the most wins on Thanksgiving. Ironically, they also have the most losses on Thanksgiving.
Like 50?
Yeah, 43 losses.
37 and 43 on Thanksgiving.
They're 47.
There's been a couple ties along the way too, hasn't there?
37 and 43. There you go. All right, Pete.
No ties, huh? I thought there was a couple ties.
Question number 2.
All right.
Well, 37 wins and 43 losses. It says nothing about ties. There could be other games that they tied.
Sure.
They have 37 wins and 43 losses. So.
Question number 2.
Question number 2, Pete. Ready?
How many ties do the Lions have Thanksgiving Day?
Yeah. Here we go. Question number 2. What quarterback has the most passing yards on Thanksgiving? In one game. What quarterback has the most passing yards in one game on Thanksgiving? Not totally, just in one particular game. What quarterback has thrown for the most yardage in one game on Thanksgiving? What do you think? Is he frozen again?
No, I'm here.
Okay. You're like literally just not moving. So I thought for a second you were frozen again.
I don't know. Most single game.
Single game. What quarterback has thrown for the most yardage in a single game on Thanksgiving? What do you think?
I don't know. David Klingler.
Wow.
David.
He gets
Klingler.
a point just for bringing that name up.
You know what? I'm giving you that. No, it's not. Harry for the steal.
All right, so I'm guessing it's either a Cowboys quarterback or maybe Stafford with his time with the Lions. So is it the question really is it Romo or Aikman? I don't think Dak has had a game. I'm just Troy Aikman.
Troy Aikman would be correct. Pete, I'm throwing you a couple beach balls here.
Well, you threw me off by the Lions having the most wins.
Well,
I wouldn't think that would be possible.
I'm guessing Stafford probably is up there in the top 10. The rest of it's probably all Dallas quarterbacks or maybe one game where who knows?
More on that in a little bit, Pete. We'll touch on that in a little bit. Here we go. Pete, question number 3, ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Which is the most frequent, happen the most matchup on Thanksgiving? So what two teams have played each other the most on Thanksgiving? What two teams have played each other the most on Thanksgiving? What do you think? What do you think there, Peter?
I don't know. I don't know who anybody plays. I don't know. The Lions and the Bears.
That would be wrong. It was not the Lions and the Bears. Harry for the steal.
It's probably not right, but I'm going to go the Bears and Packers.
Bears and Packers. That's wrong, too. The correct...
Cowboys and somebody.
No. It would be actually the Lions and the Packers.
Ah!
So you put the two of them together, you got it.
Damn it.
The Lions and the Packers. They played each other 21 times.
Wow.
All right.
I took a chance.
And they, whatchamacallit, the Lions have the series actually, they have the edge in the series. 12-8-1, the Lions are against the Packers on Thanksgiving. 12. Yeah. They've won 12 games, lost 8, tied 1 on Thanksgiving against the Packers. All right. Brings us to Harry's questions. Harry, your question number 1. You ready?
I don't know.
All right. What is the square root of pi?
Cake.
Yeah. Okay, of course. Of course. All right, here we go. Harry, that is question number 1. Here we go. What team replaced the Cowboys as a host team in 1975 and 1977? Just twice.
1975 and 77.
For a Thanksgiving game, you know, they look, obviously it's common knowledge, or at least I thought it was, that the Lions host a game on Thanksgiving and the Cowboys host a game on Thanksgiving. The Lions and the Cowboys never play each other on Thanksgiving because they both host a game on Thanksgiving. So the Cowboys didn't host the game in 75 and 77. So that game, the Cowboys hosting game, was replaced by what team in those 2 years?
So 75 and 70, was it an NFC East team? I don't think it was the Giants. Cowboys usually play the late game. The Rams.
The Rams. That would be incorrect. Pete for the steal.
All right, so let me get the premise here.
Mm-hmm.
So did the Cowboys not play, or they played but they were not the host team?
No, they didn't.
They didn't play. So
They didn't
this
play.
team took this. Yeah.
This team became the host team for that game for the
So
Thanksgiving.
75 and 77, was it the same team both years?
Yes.
All right.
Maybe I know who it is. Who was the hottest team in 75 through 77? The arch nemesis, maybe.
Trying to think who would have.
Pick a team, any team.
Not played outside, maybe.
Did they have domes in 75 and 77? I guess. No, not yet.
No?
No, they did. Minnesota and New Orleans were domes. That's it, though.
Well, I guess it wasn't one of them.
Maybe.
I'll say let's see.
Who could
maybe
it be?
How about
Who could it be?
How about the Cardinals? The St. Louis Cardinals at that time, right?
St. Louis Cardinals. Yes, it's the St. Louis Cardinals.
Wow.
But they did not have an indoor stadium?
No.
St. Louis Cardinals. And Harry, you were right. It was an NFC East team.
Yeah, that's right. They were in the East.
St. Louis Cardinals were in the
I was going to guess maybe the Steelers, but yeah.
Yeah. It was the NFC East St. Louis Cardinals in 1975.
Reached way into your ass to pull that one out.
Yeah, Tim Hart.
Wow.
Yes, they did. All right, Harry. Question number 2. What is the only current NFL team never to play a game on Thanksgiving?
That's a good question. Current team.
Like the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets never played
Right.
Thanksgiving game. So if I said what was the only
That's true.
team, it could have said that and it wouldn't be wrong. So what is the only current team never to play a game on?
I mean, I'm just gonna go play the odds and say probably Jacksonville.
Those would be good odds because it is Jacksonville. Yes. There you go. All right. And question number 3 for Harry. Here we go. I need you to name one of the 2 quarterbacks to post a perfect quarterback rating, 158.3, in a Thanksgiving game.
I mean, when did they start quarterbacks ratings?
A while ago. It's not
Really?
Yeah. Here we go.
I mean, I don't know. And I guess Tom Brady had to have done it at some point.
Start. Hold on. Start.
No?
But when did it? It doesn't say. I'll look for it later. It's been a while, but Brady would be one of them. Yes, Brady's one of the 2. In 2010, he posted a perfect quarterback rating on Thanksgiving. Pete, I'll give you 1 point if you can name the other quarterback.
I'm not going to say David Klingler.
I thought you were going to say Jim Hart.
Well, they hosted
They played in 75 and 77.
77. They were hosting against some team. Is it? You might not be able to. Is it current quarterback?
No.
Not someone who's playing now.
No.
How many people have done it, John? A lot, right?
How many people have done what? Posted a perfect quarterback rating?
Yeah.
In general, a lot, but on Thanksgiving, only 2.
Only 2 on Thanksgiving. Okay.
So
Tom
Tom Brady
and one other one.
No, not somebody current. So I don't know. Brett Favre?
Brett Favre would be wrong. You said David Klingler?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Well, that's wrong, but I was going to make a joke. Harry, you want to take a stab at it? Or not so much?
It's been a while. It's nobody current, right?
No.
I'm gonna. I'm just gonna say Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning is wrong as well. Pete, you said David Klingler, right? So
Yeah.
if you go with his first name and the last initial, you would be correct.
Oh, I think this ties into your love of another receiver
Craig?
from Dave Craig.
Dave Craig. Yeah, Dave Craig.
Ah.
Dave Craig in 94 versus Buffalo posted a perfect quarterback rating on Thanksgiving. Another Lions win on Thanksgiving. There you go.
I think that was the guy I was thinking of when I said Klingler.
Klingler? Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll give you the point.
No, I mean originally.
I'm kidding. David Klingler?
Are we done?
Klingler, did he even play for the Lions?
I don't know.
I don't think he did.
I just looked it up too when you were kidding around. You said something
I
about
thought he was the cast member on Night Court.
Yeah, you said something about the Cardinals. I was like, oh wait, Neil Lomax, but he didn't get drafted until like 80 or 81.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Dave Craig was the guy that I meant initially when I said Klingler, but I just had his last name wrong.
There you go. Well, now that you cleared that up, I'll give you the
Who
point.
did Klingler play for the Bengals?
Let's find out. We have the technology. David.
I'm gonna say he played in like the 90s, right?
David Klingler paid.
Mid-90s?
He played for the Bengals.
Yeah.
And the Raiders. He
And
played
the
for
Raiders, okay.
He played for the Bengals for 4 years, and then the Raiders for 2 years. That was it.
Yeah.
And then he was
drafted in '92.
He
90.
lasted a little longer. He definitely sounds like a Jet quarterback.
Dave Klingler. Yeah. So,
Sixth overall pick.
Yeah, I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Dave Craig.
Yeah, Dave Craig is the guy I meant, but I had the last name wrong. Well, not that it was the right answer, but at least he was an actual Lions quarterback.
Right. Well, it was his only year with the Lions too. 94.
Yeah, because he played for the Seahawks most of his.
He played for the Seahawks for 12 years.
Yeah, and the Chiefs maybe.
He played for the Chiefs for a couple of years, the Lions for a year, the Cardinals for a year, the Bears for a year, and then the Oilers, the Tennessee Oilers, before they changed to the Titans, for 2 years. So he had a 19-year NFL career, Dave Craig.
Craig had some good years in there, right? I'm guessing, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, well, I mean, he was for a lot of the 80s, he was throwing to Steve Largent.
Yeah.
You know,
he must have made a couple Pro Bowls. I'm guessing 2, maybe.
Made 3.
3. Okay.
3 Pro Bowls. Yeah. So there you go. All right.
Kind of hard to make the Pro Bowl in those days, and when you're playing. Well, the AFC. He was going up against some guy named Dan Marino, or some guy named John Elway, or some guy named Dan Fouts, or
right. Exactly.
Yeah, there were a couple good quarterbacks in the AFC.
Yeah.
So Harry wins 4-1.
That's more like it.
There you go. Here's the weird fact, and this ties back to the NFL. Just a quickie. Here you go. Ready for this one? Raul Allegre kicked for the Giants and the Jets in the same season. Okay, in 1991. But it gets weirder. He was on the Giants for a number of the 80s. He 85. I think they had Ali Haji Sheik, and then they drafted Raul Allegre. They got Raul Allegre. He kicked for the Giants for the Super Bowl from 86 in January 87. He was on the Giants the whole time. He got hurt early on in 90 when they signed Matt Barr, and Matt Barr obviously kicked the winning field goal in San Francisco to go to the Super Bowl and so forth and so on. Anyway, but in May of 91, the Giants cut Raul Allegre because they were keeping Matt Barr, right? He signed with the Houston Oilers in the preseason and played preseason games with the Oilers. But then the Oilers cut him. In October, Matt Barr got hurt for a couple of weeks. So the Giants re-signed him, and he kicked for the Giants for a few weeks. And then Matt Barr got healthy, so they cut him again. And the Jets picked him up in December because Pat Leahy got injured. And he kicked for the Jets the rest of the season and into the playoffs, because the Jets went to the playoffs in 91. All right. And they lost, right? But but who did they play in that game? The Houston Oilers, who he kicked for in the preseason. So, just a weird fact.
Yeah, and that was the prime of his career.
So there you go. That's our NFL weird fact of the week. All right, cool. And there you have it. Let's bring that back up to here. All right, that brings us to. Got to get over here and turn that off. That brings us to our top 5 list. Remember when we used to do top 10s, and we took an hour and a half just to do the top 10?
Pretty much blocked it out.
Tonight's top 5 2 weeks ago was the NFL players from the 90s. This week is top 5 NFL players from the 1980s.
From the 80s.
So Harry and I had the exact same list in the exact same order. Pete had 3 of them and added a couple others. So the other ones that weren't...
He added Deion Sanders.
He he played 1 year in the 80s, right? So there you go. Yeah. But here we go. He had so I'll give you 5 B and 5A are Pete's other two, and then we'll do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. So 5B is, we just mentioned it, Steve Largent, getting passes from Dave Craig all those years, except for when he played in the 70s. But
well, he only played 4 years in the 70s.
Right. Well, no, 5 years. 76, 7, 8, 9. Oh yeah, 4 years. 6, 7, 8. 4 years. 4 years. Yeah. And there you go. So Steve Largent, and 5A would be Mr. John Elway. There you go. Well, read them all off, and then we'll talk about them. Number 5 is Anthony Munoz. Anthony Munoz. Number 4 would be Mr. Dan Marino. Number 3, Ronnie Lott. Number 2, same team, Joe Montana. And number 56 in your programs, number 1 in your hearts, Mr. Lawrence Taylor, number 1 player of the 80s. Ironically, all 3 of us were in agreement with that. And Pete did not call him a systems linebacker.
No.
There you go. So there you go. So chatter about these guys.
I mean, there's nothing controversial here.
No, not really.
They're all great players.
Anthony Munoz is probably one of the best, offensive linemen of all time.
Yeah, and I think most people probably would have other, they might have had some other Walter Payton. Payton's sort of interesting because part 80s, part 70s, part 90s, right?
Yeah.
Payton finished in 88, 89. Yeah. But he probably had most yardage, best seasons in the 70s. Walter Payton did. 77 was probably his best season. But
I saw Jerry Rice on a couple of other lists that I was looking at.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we know he was more productive with Steve Young than he was with Joe Montana.
Well, yeah, and I think we had him on our list 2 weeks ago for the 90s. Yeah.
And there's so many quarterbacks.
Dickerson is another guy I looked at. Yeah. I put I think I had Montana 3rd, right?
You had Montana. You had mine and Harry's order was Munoz 5th, Marino 4th, Lott 3rd, Montana 2nd, and Taylor 1st. You had Ronnie Lott 5th, Steve Largent 4th, Montana 3rd, Elway 2nd. You had Elway over Montana, and then you had Taylor 1st.
Yeah, and Elway's certainly in the top 10. He was he better than Marino in the 80s? I mean, he went to Super Bowls. He had the same amount of wins in the 80s. People like I put people like Dan Fouts up there.
Fouts is the reason I put Elway as high as I did is because I feel like and I know this has been overblown by a lot of people, but I feel like he did more with less. He had less to work with.
Right.
He did have some good players. Yes.
He had a great defense.
He had a great defense. But, Montana, the whole team some of those years were Hall of Famers now, or almost, you know what I mean? And fuck Dan Marino. Sorry, he doesn't make my list except for guys I hate the most, maybe. But that's irrational, I understand. I did consider putting him on the list. But that's the only reason I put Elway ahead of Montana. I think he did. So he did as much, didn't win as many, yes, but he didn't have quite the same talent level to work with.
Right. Interestingly enough, if you look at who had the most passing yards in the 80s, Montana was first with almost 31,000. Second was Dan Fouts, 28,301 yards passing.
Yeah, Fouts was amazing, but they could never win any.
I know. Well, Marino was third. Guess who was number 4?
Chad Pennington?
Phil Simms.
Phil Simms was number 4, yeah.
You had Danny White and Neil Lomax ahead of John Elway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting when you look back on it. I mean, here's some other guys who, when I think of the 80s from a quarterback standpoint, here's who I think of. I think of guys like Ron Jaworski, Warren Moon, Bernie Kosar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just, then you roll into the early 90s.
Randall Cunningham.
Well, did Cunningham
late 80s? Late
80s. He was more 90s to me, but yeah. So yeah, you're right. It's it's interesting. And then when I think of the 80s, I also think of some of the best defensive players. So besides Taylor and Lott, if you got guys like Mike Singletary, you obviously have people like Richard Dent and Reggie White started in the 80s, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's and then you think about some of who was the defensive end for the 49ers who is a Pro Bowler. Anyway, there's a lot of great defensive players too there. But it was way more of a running backs league I mean, you had great running backs and great quarterbacks along with, a handful of Hall of Fame receivers.
Yeah. Well, and that's, listen, that's the reason I put Largent on the list.
Right.
He played 4 years in the 70s, played all through the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And when he left the game, he had the records, I think, for the most receiving yards and most touchdowns or whatever. They were, of course, eventually surpassed. But
sure. But and then
I know his last 2 seasons were not great, but he had.
You're absolutely right.
3 or 4 or 5, maybe 6,000-yard receiving seasons during the 80s and stuff like that.
When
he left, he was the man.
When he was the man, when he retired, the very next year he won the first ever Steve Largent Award.
Yeah, I think he's won it a couple times, hasn't he?
He won the first ever the year he retired, and then he won it a couple of times after that.
Largent had the second most receiving yards in the 80s. Number 1, somebody we forget about, James Lofton.
Yeah, James Lofton, sure.
Here's some numbers. Number 3, Art Monk. We forget about those Redskins teams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Joe Jacoby might be in my top 10 list. And of course, then you got guys like Stanley Morgan, who was played, I think, in the 70s and 80s. You had Wes Chandler and Chris Collinsworth. Chris Collinsworth, 6,700 yards.
Had a lot, yeah.
Drew Hill.
Chris Collinsworth played in 2 Super Bowls.
Kellen Winslow.
Lost them both.
Yeah.
Almost won the second one with Boomer.
I mean, if you would have told me that Chris Collinsworth had more receiving yards, than Jerry Rice in the 80s. I mean, he also played in 30 more games, 40 more. Right. But yeah. Right. But
what about Al Toon?
I don't know what Al Toon is. He's up there. He's probably in the top 30.
I know he's up there. He had receiving yards, not as much as those other guys.
I mean, Kellen Winslow as a tight end. In 102 games, he had 6,486 yards, 516 receptions. That's just crazy.
Yeah, it is insane.
Yeah, he was in the right offense for that.
Right. And then you get to defense. Obviously, mentioned Ronnie Lott, and of course our number 1. It goes without saying. I don't think there's anybody. Obviously, Harry, you and I are Giants fans, but I don't think there's anybody that's going to disagree with you.
Oh, if you talk to anybody out here in Denver, LA will be number 1.
No. I meant as far as defensive. As far as linebackers go.
Yeah.
Lawrence Taylor.
Lawrence Taylor might be the best football player of all time. He just might actually be the best football player of all time. I mean, you're going to have people who argue that with Jim Brown and people going back. You're going to have people who are going to say Brady. But I'm not sure I've ever seen anybody change the game literally like Lawrence Taylor. Right. Unbelievable.
No. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between guys who changed the position, which Lawrence Taylor did also, but he changed the game. Ronnie Lott changed the position.
Right. Lawrence Taylor changed the way offenses play and changed the way defenses play.
Yeah, absolutely. And how pissed was New Orleans?
Yeah.
Although
they had, who did they draft?
They for the first pick in the 81 draft. They drafted George Rogers. Running back out of South Carolina. You
can't blame him. Wasn't he the Heisman Trophy winner?
He was the Heisman Trophy. He was the Heisman Trophy winner.
I mean, you can't blame him for that.
And then the Giants drafted Taylor with the number 2 pick, and the Jets had the number 3 pick that year. Kind of shades of
Joe
2018, right? When the Giants had the number 2 pick, Jets had number 3 pick.
Who did the Jets take? Joe Klecko?
No, Pete,
What year was this?
81.
Oh, Ken O'Brien.
No.
Blair
Jets.
Thomas.
That wasn't Blair Thomas. Jets drafted Ken O'Brien with Marino still on the board 2 years later.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now it's a running back.
Freeman McNeil.
Freeman McNeil.
Pretty good pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
you can't complain about that.
And the Seahawks drafted Kenny Easley with the 4th pick. Not a bad pick either.
Not a great pick, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, so
right.
Yeah. Whatchamacallit. And then with the 8th pick, 4 picks after Easley, the 49ers picked Ronnie Lott. So in the top 8 picks of the 81 draft are 3 Hall of Famers. So.
All right, let's move on to
somebody
somebody who deserves to be on this list and is this week's recipient of. All right,
tell us who that is.
So let's talk about most rushing touchdowns in the 80s. Who do you think it would be? Well, I'll tell you who it is by far. It's Eric Dickerson, who had 19 more rushing touchdowns than Marcus Allen and 20 more than John Riggins, in a close 4th place, by the way, and a very unsung Otis Anderson. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's talk about most rushing yards in the 80s. Well, who could that be? It's just a real big question. Well, he only had 11.2 thousand yards in the 80s.
Is that all? That's not much.
Eric Dickerson.
He was the systems running back.
Walter Payton had 9,800. So as great as Walter Payton was, and Tony Dorsett and Otis Anderson creeps up here on this list. Mm-hmm. Eric Dickerson had 11,226 yards in that 10-year span. So, what's incredible about Eric Dickerson is that he had a long career. He kind of we all remember him in his early years with the Rams. I think there was, pretty big major contract holdout. He went to the Colts and sort of reinvigorated his career at the Colts. He was the NFL Offensive Player of the Year in 86, NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year in 83. He was a 5-time first-team All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, and 4 times, 83, 84, 86, and 88, led the NFL in rushing yards. And he was the NFL rushing touchdown co-leader in 1984. So he wound up his career with 13,259 career rushing yards with 90 rushing touchdowns. And, for I would say a 5-6 year period, he was the most exciting running back in the NFL. And he also, when he first came in the league, sort of had, he was just breaking records that you never thought would be broken. And, some injuries and changes and things like that. I think he doesn't have as long of a career as I think some other players had, but he played for a long time, and the numbers are just staggering. It's hard to not put him on that top 5 list, and I think many people would probably have him on there. Anyway, this week's old balls, and probably in number 5A, is Eric Dickerson.
Eric Dickerson, this week's old balls. There you go. Quick aside, really quick. I just want to tell you, we were talking about the 81 draft before, and I mentioned in the top 8 picks, there was 3 Hall of Famers, and it was obviously Lawrence Taylor, Kenny Easley, and Ronnie Lott. Mm-hmm. In round 2 of that draft, there was another 3. In round 2 with the 38th pick overall, Mike Singletary.
Wow.
In round 2 with the 48th pick overall, Howie Long.
That guy's pretty good.
Yeah. And in round, obviously by the Bears and the Raiders respectively. And then in round 2 with the 51st pick overall by the Saints, Ricky Jackson.
Yeah.
And then in the 3rd round, He had one other
Richard
Hall of
Dent?
Famer. Nope. The Redskins selected Russ Grimm with the
Russ Grimm.
69th pick.
One of the Hogs. One of the Hogs.
So in that draft, 7 Hall of Famers came out of the 81 draft.
Yeah.
So we should do that. We got to look up and see. That I don't know. That might be
which
just
draft had the most Hall of
which
Famers?
draft had the most Hall of Famers in it. Yeah, that's stuff.
Top 5 third round
Probably
later
the
draft picks in the 80s.
1945. In 1945, because there's like
there's like 75 people drafted by each team in the
right.
40s. So
yeah, and there's and they're all of them went into the Hall of Fame early on.
Right. So
I was just looking at Dickerson's numbers here.
Mhm.
Just his attempts. Rookie season 1983, 390.
Crazy,
84,
right?
375, 86, 404, 88, 388, 89, 314. I mean, more than 300, almost 400 carries
a season.
You can't imagine that happening today. It's like there's not enough plays.
Now they
for somebody to
literally
even carry the ball that many
times. He was a
times.
workhorse, and the other thing about Dickerson is that he ran so upright that he was tall. He was longer and bigger than a lot of other quarterbacks, and he knew how to protect himself, but he just seemed like a target. He just seemed like he ran straight up and down and slithered his way through openings. But he was subjected to a lot. All of those guys. Think about Otis Anderson, the way he ran. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, crazy! And they were in offenses that were where they ran the ball 75% of the time.
Yeah. There was no. I mean, other than the Chargers and Fouts and Pryor and everything else with Eric Coryell and everything else, nobody had a West Coast offense back then. It was all grind it out, and you had your passing plays here and there, but it was on the ground.
And a lot more screens and things like that. So the running backs are still getting obliterated in those schemes.
Space, yeah.
So
2,996 carries.
Yeah.
That's insane.
He couldn't get 4 other carries. Seriously. He couldn't come back for one game in the next season.
I think he did blow his knee out finally, didn't he? Or something? Yeah.
Like maybe just hand him the ball off and just have him fall right down on it. So he can lose 4 yards, but he gained 4 more carries. Kidding. Anyway. All right. Peter, do we have an over-under tonight?
No over-under tonight.
No over-under tonight. All right. Well,
we'll have to wait till next time.
Wait till next time for the next over-under. All right. Which will actually be, that one will be in December. It'll be the beginning of December. So,
there we go.
There you go. All right. Anything else? Or are we good?
No, I got nothing.
All right. Harry, anything?
Nope. I think I am good. Hopefully next time we can dive into what I has found to be a very, very interesting NBA start to the season. And man, the 76ers certainly do not miss Joel Embiid, and the Los Angeles Clippers experiment is one that I don't think I want to be diagnosing. It doesn't look very good, but
I don't know if there's anybody who said about the Clippers, they figured it out, they've got it now.
It's like they have 5 of the same people playing, And as good as the Celtics are, I mean, I think that Milwaukee is still figuring things out. Their defense went from number 4 to the last.
Yep.
So we shall see. We shall see.
We shall see. And we have no show next week because it's Thanksgiving Eve. So we're taking the time off. So we'll be back in 2 weeks on the 29th, November 29th. With the news show, the regular show. Next fun show will be in December, like we just said.
We'll see if somebody has a perfect quarterback rating on Thanksgiving.
We will see if that.
I know John will have a perfect stuffing rating.
I will have a perfect stuffing and
an IPA rating.
Stuffing to fresh hopped IPA. Sierra Nevada Celebration Ale. I'll be drinking that next week.
God, that's
You want to watch me drink my first one of the season? Watch the Lager Room podcast next Tuesday night. I'll be drinking the first one. So.
There's something to look forward to.
There's something to look forward to, exactly.
What are you doing tonight, honey? Oh, I'm going to watch a guy drink a beer and talk about beer.
I'm going to go outside while
there
John
are some people that do watch the show.
Well,
so.
John
really?
farts all night.
Well, it's his first one of the season, and I don't want to miss it. So
maybe
maybe we could have Johnny's birthday another night.
That's right.
Priority.
Bring him on the show. We'll put him on the show. We'll say happy birthday to him right on the show. There you go.
First one of the season. Live from Glory Hole, California.
Glory Hole, California.
And the Quarter Mile Rec Center.
And
brought to you by Impossible Moose.
Hosted by Invincible Moose.
Serious question here.
What's some Moose?
Is Glory Hole a town? Or
Glory Hole Rec Center.
I think it's the lake. It was nicknamed
because
Glory.
You know how
Glory
you have
Hole
like
Lake?
the rest stops, right? In Jersey are named after people.
Yeah.
Do they have recreation areas that they just name after things? And one of them
No, I
I
think there's a lake there that's
a lake. Glory Hole Lake?
It's Glory Hole Recreation Area in Calaveras, California, County, California.
It's in Napa, right? Glory Hole Lake.
Napa. It's in Napa. Yeah, it's New Maloney's Lake.
Okay. So what it is that
Malonis.
Yeah.
In other words, why is it named Glory Hole?
Yeah. So there is a giant hole, a man-made hole.
There's a giant
in the middle of the lake, which helps the lake. No, there is.
Right. I'm with you. There's a giant hole in the middle of the lake that helps the lake do what?
Relax.
Smoke a cigarette.
It sounds like the city supervisor or something allowed like his 8-year-old son for his birthday to name the recreation area.
What happened is in 1953 there was a spillway for a dam next to the lake, and the design is variously called a bellmouth, a morning glory, or most commonly a glory hole.
The design of the spillway is called the glory.
According to Visit Napa Valley, it is essentially a giant concrete funnel sticking up.
Oh, I see it right here.
Up out of the dam, 75 feet in diameter at the top and 28 feet at the base. When Berryessa's surface level rises over 440 feet above sea level, close to the overflowing dam, it subsumes the funnel. When the water starts to drain out of it from a bathtub, it creates a hypnotizing swirl, i.e. the glory hole. So at the rec center, you can go and watch the glory hole while you stick your cock in a glory hole. It's fantastic.
In every sense, it is a
full-service
recreation area.
We're going to have to go do a show from Napa.
You can see it. I mean, I've seen this before, but like there's videos of it. It looks like this crazy like black hole that's opening and the water's going down it. It's pretty cool, actually.
There you go. And it's called the Glory Hole.
I mean, conveniently called. But I agree with Pete. I'm like, they could have called it something else, but
here's the thing. This is in the 50s, right? So if they called it that in the 50s, it's highly likely. I don't know what the etymology of the Urban Dictionary glory hole.
There were glory holes in the 50s.
No, I'm sure, but did they call them glory holes then?
Somebody did.
Yeah. Maybe this was the first glory hole, and then they adopted that name for the Urban Dictionary.
Oh, there's a glory hole.
A big hole with a sucking sensation.
There's a glory hole road.
Yes, Glory Hole Road.
Nice.
It's right. You know what? I'll meet you on the corner of Glory Hole Road and go away.
That's right. That's right.
Well, it's
down on Glory Hole Road.
Listen,
Is that a Bruce Springsteen song?
It is.
I'm glad they haven't changed the name.
Yeah.
You would think in California someone would be offended by that, and they would.
Well, they would be offended, but since Glory Hole's, people think are used primarily by homosexual men, then that would be, so they're stuck in a conundrum there in their politically correct ways.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just pretend it doesn't mean, it doesn't have an urban slang meaning.
No. What they did, they go through very, very, very long lengths, no pun intended, to make sure that Glory Hole Rec Center is both gender neutral and gluten free. So it's a safe space.
Gluten neutral and gender free.
Gender free. Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah.
So, well, either way, it's a Glory Hole Rec Center that
right.
has an actual glory hole. So,
all right. Well, there you go, John. We just gave you your idea for your next, Glory Hole Lager. There you go.
We'll have to. I don't know. Wouldn't a glory hole be an IPA?
No, that's the
West Coast IPA.
No, yeah, well, no more IPAs. Maybe you got to make it something more interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to think of something.
Glory Hole Stout.
Glory Hole Stout. You can actually blend it with Rocky Mountain Oyster Stout because they would go good together.
Yeah, gone too far.
There you go. All right.
Gone too far.
Let's get on with it. All right.
Balls deep in the Glory Hole Stout.
And I went too far. There you go.
Should I say anything, or we'll just leave it where it lies?
No, I had it. Go ahead. Why not?
Leave it where it stands is more like
where it stands.
I think we could create a whole new type of beer.
Right.
Call it the Glory Hole Sputum.
All right.
There we go. I asked you if I should say it, and
I didn't know how good or bad it was. I just said to go.
Well, you knew it was going to be bad. Don't give me that you didn't know.
All right. It's my fault.
Not only did we know, but we were never going to stop you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right.
Anyway,
on that note, we will wrap.
It would have to be a sparkling Sputum.
Sparkling.
Well, it could be sparkling.
We are talking about Napa Valley now. Come on.
Right. It's
this is wine country.
You can blend it with Prosecco and some Moscato.
Thick really and foamy.
Yes. The Glory Hole Pinot Grigio.
Thick and foamy.
Thick and foamy. Shoot one today.
Yeah. A taste that'll have you on your knees. Praying for more.
Shake it up. Let her fly.
Taste will have
you never know what you're going to have on the other side. Glory Hole Sparkling Cider. Brought to you by Dickens Cider.
Dickens. Yes, it's a cider made by Dickens. Yes, that's right. It's Dickens cider.
From the makers of Dickens Cider is Glory Hole Riesling.
There you go. All right. On that note,
there's no Riesling for a Glory Hole.
Riesling for a Glory Hole. All right. On that note, we will wrap the show up for today. Want to thank everybody for watching.
Top 5 Glory Holes.
Top 5 Glory Holes. Oh, by the way, I was listening to an older show from a couple of months ago. We were supposed to do a top 5 Dougs.
Glory Holes? Top 5 what?
Dougs.
Oh, Dougs.
All right, next time, top 5 Dougs. Post Thanksgiving, top 5 Dougs.
Post Thanksgiving, top 5 Dougs.
That'll get everybody in. It's more exciting than top 5. I'm more excited about that, quite honestly. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, on that note, we'll wrap the show for today. I want to get ready for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And of course, and please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And of course, all of our shows are available on YouTube as well on the Logger Room channel. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, which is now X, and Twitch every Wednesday evening at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, ish, somewhere around there. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on our audio host, Spreaker, as well as iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, Audible, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, Castbox, Deezer, Podchaser, Rephonic. Pretty much anywhere you can find an audio podcast, you can find the Get On With It Sports Podcast. And of course, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful, happy and healthy and safe Thanksgiving next week. Be safe if you're going out on Wednesday. And watch all the games. Then we'll talk to you the following week, folks. Take care. Cheers.
By the way, it looks like there is another glory hole at the Monticello Dam, which is Lake Berryessa. So there we go.
Lake Barry
That's the
Amenema?
same one. That's the same one. That's the Glory Hall Rec Center.
No, it's not Lake Berryessa. It's Lake.
Yeah, no, this is a different one.
It's
Different
Lake
one,
New Maloney's Lake. Yeah.
No,
This is. Oh, wait a minute.
it's the same one. Anyway,
Oh,
No,
that's it.
it's the Stanislaus River. The new. Yeah.
This one says. Well, it says it's in Napa County.
yeah,
The dam, Monticello Dam, impounded Puta Creek to create Lake Berryessa in the Vaca Mountains.
that's the one that I was talking about.
Oh,
Because I'm looking at another one here that's from New Maloney's Lake into the Stanislaus River.
From what I hear, it's not that hard to find a Glory Hole. You just gotta,
Got to do your research.
gotta look in the right places.
Got to do the
so one thing we have learned though is they are fond of them in California.
fond of
They
them
are.
in
If you
the
want
land
to find the best Glory Holes, you gotta ask a Republican senator.
All right. On that
that
note, we will talk to you later, folks. Have a great Thanksgiving next week, folks. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Cheers.
Bye, everybody.